From deep in the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada, it's the Best of the Outdoors podcast, brought to you by Texas Fish and Game Magazine, the voice of the Texas outdoor nation. I'm your humble host, Dustin Warncke. I'm really happy to be here for another day of SHOT Show coverage. I'm really excited to have the chance to share with you what I found today in my work in the SHOT Show exhibit hall today. Really excited to have the chance to showcase some different things that I found interesting and that I think you will find interesting as well. The first place that I stopped off was Hatsan Airguns. I had a meeting with them, with one of their operations guys and the owner I've known for a while. And they have a new H1911, I guess H stands for Hatsan, and they have, it's basically a pellet pistol that has a 6-round rotary magazine on the top part of the clip, and then the bottom part of the clip has another 6-round rotary magazine. So if you were to flip the clip, back and forth, you'd have a total of 12 shots. So it's kind of cool. You can really easy to use for the most part, from what I can see. I didn't obviously have a chance to test fire it, but really exciting product. Very lightweight for its size as well, as a regular standard 1911 style gun. And I've got a picture of that I'll put in the show notes. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, you can see the pictures on fishgame.com under the podcast tab if you find this show. And so really, I thought that was an interesting innovation, 1911 style air gun, air pistol. And the reason why I think it's kind of cool is because it's a great way to get kids involved in the outdoors, and it's not too heavy to where kids can't, use it. I try to teach my son. I've got a couple of air pistols. I bought a SIG, believe it was a P226 air pistol from the Texas Airgun show this last August that we had. Up in Mansfield, Texas, in the North Texas area, and I'm really excited about getting my son behind that because we've had a lot of fun shooting that. And then I also own a revolver that Dustin Ellerman sent to me from Umarex, and they're just great guns to have around for shooting BBs. This is a pellet gun. This particular gun that is the H1911 from Hatsan, and I really have a lot of good things to say. Like I say, it's lightweight, easy to handle for kids to use, and a really good training for firearms. Now, air guns in the air pistol category are not necessarily just for, young shooters that are just learning pistols. It's also very cheap ammunition to shoot, lead BBs or pellets, whatever the case may be, depending on what air gun you use. It's cheaper than shooting a 22. You can shoot in your backyard in a lot of cases, depending on where you live. I know I can shoot in my backyard for air guns, and I have a lot of fun doing that and training when I can't get all the way to the range, when I don't have the time commitment to go to the range. Air guns are just a fantastic way to plink and practice and have fun in the outdoors. So I definitely wanted to bring that up. Also, they have the Hercules Bully, and this is basically a air gun, air rifle. It is basically a step up from their original Hercules that they came out with, I believe, last year. And it's kind of a bullpup design. It's a really cool looking, interesting air gun, air rifle, and it really caught my eye because it can go from 177 caliber model all the way up to a 45 caliber model for the same air rifle series. Comes in all those different calibers in between: 177, 22 cal, 25 cal, 30 cal, 35 cal, and 45 cal. So just depending if you want big bore and want to hunt hogs like I do with air guns, you can choose that. Or if you want to just plink and shoot predators, varmints, so on and so forth, you can choose a smaller bore diameter. And really cool looking gun. I mean, there's a lot to say about what Hatsan's up to there. And I know I talk about air guns a lot. I'm going to talk some about another airgun company that I saw that has some really interesting stuff. But I'll have a picture of the Hatsan H1911 in the show notes. Like I said, you can go check that out. And really had a good meeting with them, and it was a lot of fun. One of the things that I talked about just now was the Sig Sauer air rifle, and or air pistol, I should say. And I really have a lot of fun at SIG's booth because they do optics now. They do SIG electric optics. They've run an ad with us in the past, full page back cover, I think in December, don't quote me on that. I think November of 2016 they ran a back cover with our magazine, and they really have a great innovative line of suppressors, of ammunition, of pistols, of rifles. I mean, just about anything under the sun aside from maybe shotguns. SIG is up to some really great things there in the world of firearms and air guns, because they carry a full line of air guns like I just mentioned. But you know, they continue to innovate, and their booth is packed every time I go by it. It is one of the in-demand booths of SHOT Show, and it's a huge booth. And I think it's because they've got so many different innovative things going on to basically, you know, push that brand out there in the firearms market as a brand leader. And 6 Sauer certainly has earned it. I mean, they've got a lot of really good press and a lot of good items there. I mean, basically from firearms to air guns, just a little bit of everything. And really excited to see what's going on with them next and what they've come out with. So also wanted to mention BTI Tools. That's owned by American Outdoor Brands. Battlefield Technology Incorporated, I think is what BTI stands for. So there's several different iterations of companies in there. And I met with one of the guys I fished with at the Delacroix event that I talked about for redfish, and he caught a lot of redfish. Pete K, great guy, and got to meet some folks there and got to really experience, you know, what I talked about in the past about Bubba Blade, and how much I like Bubba Blades, how much I enjoy the Bubba Blade that I own, and I plan to buy some other ones because, you know, Chester was with me, and we really talked about how tough a redfish bone is, you know, the rib bones and the scales and everything like that, and these knives go through redfish like butter. I mean, it's amazing, especially if you're doing them on the half shell with a serrated blade. Or even if you're doing it with a regular fillet knife blade, a tapered flex, or 9-inch serrated blade, or whatever, or 7-inch tapered flex is the one that I have. And I've got a review coming out at fishgame.com pretty soon. Probably not this next week, but the following week, that will have my Bubba Blade review of the one that I own personally. Kind of go check out. But they've got all kinds of different knife companies. Trade, Uncle Henry, Old Timer, I believe, is one of their brands. So had all their knives on display and got to check that out, and they just had a gigantic booth because they're part of a large outdoor brand company, and I'm excited to see Bubba Blade ended up there because I think it's a fantastic tool to have in the field for fishing or hunting both. Like I say, I even carved up the roast that we had for Christmas with my Bubba Blade. I like it so much. So it's definitely fishing applications, but it also has hunting applications, and they have a whole line of hunting knives that have a camo pattern on them and a different style of grip. But I really want to give a big shout out to Bubba Blade and that line of knives. In fact, I just told my friend Danny Berry at DB Hunting Ranch and DB Wall Game Processing and Taxidermy, he ordered a couple of those knives and used them in the back, and it's like a cult following almost. I don't want to say cult, but I mean, you know what I mean. Basically, it's one of those things where people would walk by and go, "Oh, you got Bubba Blade, you know, I want a Bubba Blade," you know. It's just like this following that Bubba Blade has created over the years, especially in Texas saltwater fishing. That's just incredible. So they're a lot of fun. A lot of fun to use for sure, and they just cut through fish like nothing I've ever seen. Also wanted to mention stopping off at Buck Knives, which is another company that I made contact with. They've got a wide variety of different knives going on over there. The 110 folder is the kind of the classic knife. They have an assist opening and an automatic opening knife for that. I use an Ergo Hunter, which I think has been discontinued, but they also have the Pack Light series, which is like having 3 knives that weighs the weight of one. I call them skeleton knives. And they're just a lot of fun to use in the field because you have less weight, and you basically have more control with having less weight in your knife on fixed blade knives, gut hooks, caping knives, so on and so forth. They have an anodization on them that really makes them resist rust and those kind of things that can destroy a knife. I've had a lot of fun using my Pack Light, and those have been on the market for a while. The Ergo Hunter, I think, has been discontinued. Like I say, I've got that one, and then I've got the Buck 110 folder. Had a great meeting with them, and hopefully we'll do some stuff in the advertising realm in the future with them. But I really had a lot of fun checking them out. So I wanted to definitely bring up Buck Knives because they're constantly celebrating new knife models. So I didn't get to see all the different knives that they have that are new this year, but they got a fillet knife series, which is really cool. So they're covering kind of fishing and hunting both, and really some good stuff there. Also stopped by Airforce Airguns, and the Air Force Texan is one I talk about a lot on this podcast. I've had Eric Henderson from Adventures of Field, as well as Rick Ward, the Urban Air Gunner, on the show before. I'd like to have them back in the future, maybe even on a conference call, because they're both great guests. And they hunt exclusively with air guns pretty much. They use air guns every day, especially the Air Force brand. And the Texan now comes in a carbine version. Instead of just the regular, general long version, there's a shorter version of it now, a carbine version of the Air Force Texan and 45 caliber, I believe, and then the other calibers that the Texan comes in is 308 and 357. The new thing is the suppressed versions of the 308 and the 357 to cover the spread of all the other suppressed versions of the 45 caliber Texan. And I speak a lot about that gun because I've taken that on some successful hog hunts. And Mac and Prowler, the guys that got me started in the media business, started me. They took some wild game black buck, red stag, so on and so forth in the wild with an air gun. They're working on legislation now to make big bore air guns over a certain size and power legal for whitetail hunting. The legislation's kind of in the background right now, being tested to see if that will pass. That is legal in some states to hunt big game, native game with a air rifle. And, it's just exciting to see that possibly happening in the Texas market as well. So that was kind of all the rage there. Also wanted to mention that they have a new 257, 25 caliber, if you will, but 257 bore diameter air rifle that's coming out. They're just ordering the barrels and getting the stuff in to manufacture those, so they're not going to be available for a while now. But as far as production goes, I'm excited about that round because that's still that's not a pellet gun at that point. That's a true big bore air gun, 257 caliber, because it shoots a slug and not a pellet. If you are looking for a pellet gun, they have the Condor and the Talon. I've got the Talon P that I own, as well as the Air Force Texan, and those are fantastic pellet guns. Mine's in 25 caliber. The Condor is another fantastic larger air rifle, and they obviously make the Condor SS and the Talon P SS, or the Talon SS, I think is what it's called. And those are fantastic air guns for the money. And like I said many times before on the show, it's cheaper to shoot air guns than a 22 in a lot of cases if you buy the tank and everything up front. You can just have hours and hours and hours of fun. These are single shot air guns. They're not multi-shot. They're basically make the one shot count kind of air gun. But PCP air guns have come a long way from what they were back in the day. They're very safe to shoot. They're a lot of fun for kids to get in the outdoors, and like I said, that's a big reason why I'm a proponent of air guns. So there's that. Arcus hunting I visited with. They do Ramcat broadheads, dead downwind, Tinks, quite a few different hunting scents, and they have some whitetail attractants that are new, and so they've got they're really big in the hunting industry and in the innovation categories of some of the stuff that they're putting out. And actually, Mr. Tink was there today to sign autographs and meet folks and everything, and so he's kind of a cool guy to hang out with. But got to meet with one of my guys there at Arcus, and got to present some stuff, and hopefully have a chance to work with them this year. Really excited to see what that company's up to. Also stopped by Safe Shoot. This is a company that was down in the basement, and they basically make this is hard to explain because it's not going to be available for actual product testing and review until sometime in the May-June 2018 time frame. But what this is basically is a module or a piece of equipment that you wear, or you put on a dog, you put on a kid, you put on a bystander, a person, and anytime that gun that has the unit on it, the Safe Shoot unit on it, is within range, and it's within 1,000 yards, is within shooting range, it basically sends a warning to the person that has the rifle. It sets off kind of an alarm to let you know that there's somebody downrange. Let it be a man's best friend, a dog, or a person, a person or a child or whatever the case may be, downrange, and it basically gives a no shoot alarm to the shooter that has the rifle. So this is great for driven deer hunts. This is great for pheasant hunts. This is great for quail hunts, those kind of things where you're walking a lot of people in the field and you have a lot of muzzles in the air and on the ground, and to basically keep people, from having accidents with hunting. And I think it's a very vital thing. This is developed by the Israelis, and they've developed a lot of stuff out of necessity. I think this is one of the things that's really going to be a product award winner in the future, because it's a really innovative system, and it's a very good safety system to have around for taking care of people, just making sure we don't have any accidents in the field. So Safe Shoot, check them out. I'll have some more information coming out in the magazine about them. We're going to do a new gear release for them pretty soon. So another company I met with was Rio Ammunition. They've got a fantastic line of Dove ammunition I use every year in the field, and I just have fantastic results with their ammunition. Really a lot of good stuff there. So check out Rio Ammunition. It's available at Academy Sports and Outdoors if you've not checked them out before, as far as the quality ammo for shotguns. The really cool thing is they're based in Texas. They're a Spanish company, but they have headquarters in Texas, and they're starting to manufacture a good majority of their, especially Dove lows and things that Texans buy in the state of Texas instead of having them imported. And it's a really good company. I got to meet one of the guys that is now in charge of their marketing stuff there, and got a little tour of some of the products and stuff that they're doing, and it's just a great brand. I've got some of their, I think, 20th or 25th anniversary commemorative ammo that I dove hunt with, and they're based right in Marshall, Texas. So they're a Texan company. Marshall, Texas is a cool little town, and that's where they're based out of, and they're continuing to ramp up their operations and partner with Academy and other sporting goods stores to carry their ammunition, which I think is really cool. And then I also checked out Holosun. Holosun was down in the basement level of the SHOT Show, and they carry a wide variety of red dot reflex style sights, optics. They're mainly an optics company, and they have a wide variety of optic solutions. Lasers especially is something that they're new about, and they want to work with us, especially for hog hunting and things like that you can use lasers with, exotics, that kind of stuff in Texas. If you need fast target acquisition, let's say you're in a helicopter hunt for a hog, or even more commonly, just driving around the pasture, driving around the ranch, and you need a fast target acquisition on a hog. Their laser sights are great, as well as their red dots. They've just got so many different models. It's overwhelming of red dot optics and lasers, and it's just really cool. They've got a fit for just about any kind of gun you can imagine, and a really cool company. So check out Holosun. I'll try to put that in the show notes as well. Also wanted to mention, I checked out Skull Hooker. And Skull Hooker's been a media partner for Texas Fish and Game for a while, for the last couple of years, and I really like the innovations they've come up with, because in Texas we love our European mounts, and we've done some specials with them before that I've announced on the podcast, as far as coupons, promo codes, that kind of stuff that you can take advantage of. And stay tuned, because we'll probably do something like that in December again, with a Facebook post or an email blast, especially when we come up to August through December. They do a lot of their marketing and planning and stuff like that for that time of year, because that's when a lot of people are harvesting big game. They have the little hooker, the big hooker, and the little hooker's obviously for white-tailed deer, antelope, those kind of native game species. The big hookers for your pure Davids, red stag, elk, any of those big horned animals and big headed animals. That's definitely a good consideration there. And then they've come out with the table hooker, which they've had for a while, and the skull hooker bone bracket, the XXL bone bracket for bigger game. So if you just want to mount the antlers of an animal, that's what the bone bracket is for. You have that in extra large or just regular size. And then last but not least on the list, they've got the skull cap, which is a little bit different way to mount skull caps of animals. And then they have the trophy tree. The trophy tree is really cool. It's basically a floor mounted. It's not really mounted. It's not mounted on a wall. It's not mounted on a table. It's a freestanding floor mounting solution. So basically, it can stick in a corner. It can be kind of in the middle of a room, and it basically has a bunch of the little skull hooker offshoots from it, just like a tree kind of would have branches, and that really helps the display of your Euro mounts, because you can basically take the skulls and organize them however you want them. You can have some to the left, some to the right, some to the center, so on and so forth, and you kind of admire your trophies that way. And I really see the value and the benefit to the to the hunter for that, because it's a unique way to show your stuff. They're not ridiculously expensive. They're very elegant, and if that's a word I could use for a hunting term, for a hunting product, but really good way to show your trophies and to your friends and your family and so on and so forth. The cool thing about the big hooker and the little hooker that are wall mounted is that you can pivot at about, roughly 180 degrees if you didn't have anything on it. But you can pivot to the left or the right or the center and kind of line them up and organize them on a wall and have them in different iterations. If you want the one side of the antlers to look, or the one side of the horn, whatever the case may be, to look a certain way or be turned a certain way, you can do that. It is this completely swiveling solution to move things, where a traditional European mounting bracket you can't do that with. So it's one thing I'm trying to get my taxidermy friends involved in owning some of these and showing them off in their taxidermy studios and selling them to their customers as a dealer, because they're really, really cool ways to show your European mounts, and that's huge for us here in Texas. So, or they're in Texas, since I'm not in Texas right now. Other company I wanted to bring up to you before I try to bring Chester Moore here, and it may be too late for him because he is a early riser and early to bed kind of guy. I'm going to go try to roust him out and try to finish the podcast with him this evening. But also ran into Swagger Bipods. I've got a picture of one of these in action, and it's a guy that basically has both bipods up against his leg or his waistline area, and aiming at a simulator that they have, a video simulator, where he basically was shooting at game animals with the Swagger Bipods. And Swagger Bipods obviously did a program with us with Big and J, owned by the same company, and we did hunting school a couple of months ago now. I wrote a lot of content for that, and really, really awesome product. Swagger Bipods are not cheap by any means, but they are very high quality. They allow you to have a bipod system that's kind of a quick access bipod, but also for different terrains, especially if you do a lot of spot and stalk hunting around mountains or rocky areas or uneven ground. These bipods are fantastic. They easily mount to the bottom of the gun via a rail or a swivel situation, and it's just a really fantastic idea to check them out. And see if the Swagger Bipods will work for you, because they definitely have caught my eye as something that I think a lot of hunters should consider, especially if you're doing a lot of spot and stalk and not stand hunting. If you're really getting out there in the terrain and want a really steady rest, and that's what I really think is cool. Also ran into Spot Global Star. If you remember last fall, we did around Christmas time, so I guess it's been about a month now. We did a podcast where I talked about one of the specials they were doing for Christmas. I think it was a 50% off or some kind of percentage off deal, and they really have an awesome product line. They basically can save your bacon if you are in a emergency situation, if somebody gets hurt, if your family and relatives want to know where you are and you're in a remote area. They use a really complex GPS system to basically track your location, and in a worst case scenario with their Gen 3, I believe you can also request emergency assistance helicopter to come in certain parts of the world to save your bacon, as it were. And they've got a really, really neat set of products. And I think the what I wrote down here was the Generation 3 was the new model that they have, the Gen 3, and it's a really cool product. I really recommend that you check them out. I think it's findmespot.com. That's findmespot.com. And the Spot Global Star Company is just a great group of people that really make an innovative product that can really save your life. You know, if you ever were offshore in a fishing situation, or you were in the mountains of West Texas or elsewhere in Colorado or New Mexico or someplace like that in remote situations, I mean, it could be a lifesaver. So a subscription to them and a purchase of one of their products would really be a good idea to have, especially if you're going to remote locations, which a lot of us do in the outdoors. So I'm going to go try to call Chester and get him on the podcast, and I will be right back with you. All right, joining me on the podcast now, Mr. Chester Moore, the editor-in-chief of Texas Fish and Game Magazine, host of his own radio show, More Outdoors, on KLVI.
Thank you for the plug.
Yeah, exactly.
19 years and going strong.
Yeah, 19 years and going strong on radio, so that's really cool. What are some of the things that you saw at SHOT that caught your eye today?
You know, I did get to walk around a little bit more today. You know, we had meetings and stuff, but I got to spend a little bit of time down in the basement.
Right.
You know, the basements, if you've never been to the SHOT Show, it's the area where, you know, maybe I'm not going to say all the upstarts, maybe smaller companies and things go.
Newer companies.
Smaller companies. Yeah. You know, they're not the Remingtons, they're not the Sig Sauers, but they're a company that maybe has some really cool products. And I went down there. You know, the one thing that just really, I don't understand it, is how many companies produce tactical and AR-15 stuff. It's insane.
It's nuts, dude.
If you're someone who wants that kind of product, it's the golden age.
Right. It
is.
It's
really
never been better.
Yeah, it really is the golden age. You know, as far as a particular product, I'm going to be honest. The best things that I saw today were like not traditional, you know, gun stuff. I went to Coast and saw some incredible flashlights.
I'll meet with them tomorrow. So,
yeah, I mean, really amazing stuff at very affordable prices. Flashlights that have, you know, you can hook your USB into to charge it. Plus, they have rechargeable batteries as well that extend. I liked it because, you know, most flashlights you adjust by, you know, at the very end by moving the ring around, right?
Zoom,
These you move in and out, which was kind of cool,
up and down.
And so they were very like ergonomic, you know, really easy. They were lightweight. And they were in many configurations that are very practical for the fisherman, the hunter, or just someone who wants to get around their property or something safely.
One of their, I forget what model it is, but it's like a rubberized, you know what I'm talking about?
That's the one I need because I can break
I
break everything, dude. I went on a rider's trip with a major sunglass company and kicked a pair over they gave me at the event. I mean, I had to because it just disappeared. I'm like, the same thing could have happened. It's just because I want to shoot photos. If people want a real product test,
send it to Chester.
If you want things, something maybe nothing precision, but something that can be broken. You think, well, my stuff can't be broken. I'm better than like a Grizzly on the commercial. Like, if you give it to me, I can, you know. But that was really, really cool in terms of the product, you know, and just looking overall at a lot of the guns and stuff, it's really incredible to me that gun prices haven't gotten higher.
Sure.
You know, that's something for the consumer. I know because one thing I ask everybody, what's your retail? What's your retail? What's your retail? Because I want to come back and tell people, you know, this is, you know, you can get this for this price, and gun prices aren't that bad. You know, if you're looking for something practical, go deer hunting, you know.
Yes.
If you're going for one of the big brands and some custom, you know, hot caliber, you know, it may cost you more because of the, you know, precision nature of that. But if you just want to go deer hunting and have something that's accurate and shoot a deer or hog or squirrel hunting or whatever, or a lot of shotgun stuff, there's just tons and tons of stuff out there. Weatherby. I looked at some of the Weatherby stuff.
Sure.
And, you know, some very impressive stuff in Weatherby. You know, and, you know, it's interesting asking these guys what their hot, you know, caliber is, you know.
Right.
And there's a lot of calibers I'm like, I didn't know that was a caliber these days, you know. It's like, really, that's a caliber?
That's one of those wildcats, dude.
Yeah. But Weatherby had a lot of really cool stuff, and Weatherby's known as an expensive brand. You know, they're not a real cheap brand, but they had affordable stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm gonna go back to CZ we talked about yesterday.
Yes.
Utterly blown away by like their suppressor, the integral suppressor in the 22. It was incredible, and there's quite a few different things like that. So that was really cool. The one thing I haven't got to look at much is handguns. And that's not really my thing, but from the self-defense perspective, I like to look at the handgun. So tomorrow, I'm hoping I'm going to spend a little time specifically looking for, for handgun stuff. I did see a lot of cool holsters and stuff like that.
Yes.
But the thing I really came away today was I had a lot of meetings again, but I had time to look in the basement. I've kind of got a theme now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I was waiting for this.
Yeah, this is my thing. I'm kind of like get the theme going overall.
Right.
It is improving on what works.
Okay.
That's really what I came away with. That
innovation, I guess, is the summation of that.
Yeah,
word, right?
that everyone is kind of settled in a point on the guns where, look, we've came out with as many crazy Wildcat calibers as we can come out with.
So far.
We've done a lot of that stuff, but everybody's trying to dial in on how to make that product more comfortable, how to make it a little bit more effective. And the comfort thing to me is a big deal with some of this hunting gear for people who really go out and hunt. If you're sitting in a tower blind with a heater or maybe an AC in Texas sometimes,
Depends on what time of year,
and all you're doing is hunting over a feeder, you might not, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you might not need something quite as comfortable as the guy who's maybe packing it in someplace in Utah, Colorado, or mule deer hunting out in the Trans-Pecos. But for those guys and stuff, I'm seeing a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of really lightweight weaponry, a lot of things that are designed to reduce recoil naturally in the gun. A lot of special grips and things, and custom made for women and sizes and stuff. So I think it's improving on what works. It's not trying to wow people necessarily.
Sure.
It's like, okay, every year we're going to start trying to find one little thing to improve on our product with, and I think that's cool. I mean, that's honest. Every year people can't reinvent the wheel.
Right.
We're still using the wheel. It's just a different configuration,
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's the consideration I make with all this stuff is that, it doesn't always have to be new, but it's cooler if it's better, I mean, that's kind of the way I look at it. It's
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's fun because, sometimes you'll go to some show, not necessarily shop, maybe ICAST or one of these things, okay, what's new? That's the first thing I ask, do you have anything new? Because usually that's what they want to promote or talk, And you'll have some guy bust out something, and it's like, we have a new coat of paint on this. And it's a 5-minute spiel about the paint, and it's new. And I'm like, okay.
It's a new color.
Yeah, I'd rather, and I love very just honest people, which 99% you run into are. And they'll say, hey, this year we don't have a whole lot new, but what we've done is, we've tweaked, we've tweaked this a little bit,
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool because I think that is a lot more honest than trying to say every year you can't be a rifle company and reinvent the wheel every year.
Right.
So I think that's pretty cool. And that was the thing for me, it's improving on what works. And I did get to spend a little time looking at some of the clothing today. And went to Under Armour.
Yes.
And dude, the Under Armour stuff's pretty expensive, but it's incredible stuff. And they had some suits, especially the rain suit that they had, that were like unbelievable in terms of the lengths they go to make it comfortable and work for you, man. So I was really impressed with that. And when you go to these shows, we're here. If you don't know, Texas Fish and Game here is to make money. We're here. The advertising team's here to sell ads.
Right.
I'm here to help them with the editorial part of that.
Right.
And then in the spare time, catch products, which you'll see starting next week. We're going to be doing a couple of lengthy blogs kind of summing up, Dustin and I, what we saw at the show.
Sure.
And I'm always just trying to find those gems to help you guys, the listeners out there who honor us with listening to Dustin's podcast and reading their blogs and our posts and following us on social media and hopefully getting the print mag or maybe the digital issue. With things that will really help you in the field at some point. So you're going to see a lot of that, and we're just trying to kind of give you the overarching theme of what's going on right now. So, are there better places to go for minute details on all the products? Because there are people just running around, that's all they're doing.
Right.
We're trying to let you know, look, this is the bottom line for what's coming out in 2018, and what to expect. and here's a few really cool products.
Right, and I mean that's really what I try to do as part of this show is just lead you to make your own summations, your own basically summaries of what works best for you in your own in the field, in your own world. But I love this stuff so much. I love the people that we work with. I mean, I love what I do and the podcast and the magazine and stuff that I get to bring this to you. I mean, to me, it's an honor. I know it's an honor to you too, Chester.
Sure, man. That someone actually wants to download this and
listen
to
it.
Who the heck are we? You know what I mean?
We're just two guys. So.
And that's one thing I do want to say if you're listening, and I know Dustin's his podcast, but I know he feels this way too, as we've talked about it. Is the fact that, and we really try to have integrity about this.
Yes.
And it's hard. I'm going to be honest. It's business, and it's hard to be honest, dead honest in business.
Right.
So we're always trying to give you a real take on it and not a fluff take.
Right.
Not an on the take. Just this is kind of really what's going on. So we hope you get that and everything that's part of Texas Fishing Game, because I go to great lengths and torture myself over this stuff not on purpose, but I'm trying to make sure we get out there, because let's just be real, and because nobody's real out there with some of this stuff. If somebody's advertising with us and they have a product that's kind of crappy, which we haven't had that happen in a decade that I can think of.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's going to be hard for me as a writer to go to everybody else and go, you know what, we're going to have to write a crap review and bomb these people out.
Yeah.
We're just not going to run a review.
Yeah, we just don't write one, or we just don't run
That's just honesty.
Right.
But the truth is, I can't think of an instance in over a decade that's happened.
Yeah.
That we not that we even tried to do a review of, but we had a product where I'd have been like, because the stuff's good out there.
Yeah.
Social media, one thing it's done, it's helped weed out the crap.
Yeah, and I bring that up on the show a lot.
Yeah,
I know you listeners are going to get tired of this, but this is the golden age that we are in right now for firearms, for shooting, for hunting products, for, a lot of different things. And I say that a lot on the show, but I mean that it is a... it is a blessing for us it's a great time to be alive, man. I mean, If you want to really summarize it like that,
because I can't think of an advertiser that we have in the publication or have had for a long, long, long time that does not put out very good stuff. Right. And the truth is, the quality is basically down to your opinion, because all of it works.
Yeah.
It's just your preference on a lot of it.
Exactly.
So
what
that's a great thing. Yeah, you may like this little angle on this one or this little angle on that one, but both of those guns are really good, or this particular thing. There's certain things. It's going to come down to you and how you're wired.
Right.
But there's not a lot of crap out there anymore.
Right.
When I first got in the business 25 years ago, which is really weird, because I'm looking in the mirror as I'm doing this, and I'm 44. I'm still a young guy in this business.
Right. Yes, you are.
And there was a lot of crap out there,
yeah.
In the outdoors business. But social media has, because good stuff has trolls.
Yeah.
The good stuff has trolls.
That's a good way to look at it.
Ton of them.
Yeah.
The absolute idiots,
Yeah.
But so the bad stuff just gets lambasted, and so it's a weeding out process. That's maybe a slight advantage of social media.
Well, I've said this before. I mean, it's social media, but it's also just the market itself. I mean, you're not going to carry a crap product in a store or in an online store or whatever if it's not going to sell, if the word gets out that it's a piece of trash,
Yeah.
And I mean, in a way, the hunters and the purchasers, the consumers of those products have already spoken basically by what they want to see, and the companies have responded and developed, and I think that's a really good symbiotic relationship, if that's okay to say.
That's very deep, Dustin.
Real deep.
The symbiosis
of the
capitalistic system.
This is a hunting podcast, fishing podcast.
I want you to title this "The Symbiosis of the Capitalistic Firearm System in America."
Deep Thoughts by Chester Moore, Dustin Warncke.
Don't get me on deep thoughts at this point in the show. It gets scary.
I know.
Says the guy wearing a Marvel Comics beanie. So, deep thoughts, right?
No, that's cool. That's really cool. So, anything else you'd like to add, Mr. Chester?
This show is so large in scope that it kind of takes a while to wrap your head around it.
Oh, it does.
But if anyone ever has a chance to come to the shop, it's not a public show.
Yeah, it's not open to the public at all.
But if maybe your friend owns a gun shop or a range or something, you can help them out. it's worth coming if you're into that stuff. You know,
Yeah, it is.
And the ICAST, obviously, for the fishing side too.
Oh my gosh! I mean, do we do a lot of shows or what? I mean, I do NRA, and then I do the boat shows and everything else. And I mean, it's just like it's one show to the other. When January 1st hits, it's just boom, you know.
Something I noticed this year that was, and it really hit me. I saw it yesterday, but like today I was like really noticed it because I was looking for it. Is when I went by all these booths and saw hundreds and hundreds of booths today. I saw very few product endorsing like outdoor celebrities.
Yeah, you said that earlier, and I was asking you why when we were walking. And
and then you walk in one of the entrances. It's the company that owns the Sportsman's Channel and the Outdoors Channel,
right?
And they have this graphic that's like 20 feet tall with pictures of all their hosts and shows, right? So it's a lot of people walking around the show. Basically, I saw Jim Shockey. Everywhere.
Yep.
Like Jim Shockey's got the endorsement stuff, but I saw a lot of the people like last year, the last 10 years I've been here, their faces are nowhere to be seen. They're not doing signings. There's really no presence on the product endorsement side of some of this stuff, and I don't know. I think some of it can be that, because we don't have a boogeyman in the White House anymore.
Right.
I actually heard, the reason I say boogeyman, because I heard someone talk about, well, we need a boogeyman in the White House, meaning the figure of, people were scared of Obama, were scared of Hillary because of gun things. And make a boogeyman out of them, and you sell guns, right?
Right.
I actually heard someone on the bus back saying we should have had Hillary in, so we sold more guns.
Oh my God!
I mean, so you'd have your boogeyman or boogeywoman or whatever,
Yeah,
But
it's true. I mean,
so the industry of the firearm side has come down from this big peak, artificial like bubble, like the market,
Right.
So it could be some shaking out of that, like the low people in the totem pole were probably outdoor TV host, as far as endorsements and stuff like that. It could be just that there's a cycle of them, and if you notice, a lot of these companies are bought up by conglomerates now.
Yes.
And they're like, this ain't working for us. We're gone. We're cutting you. I don't know, because people don't. You might watch a hunting and fishing TV show, but I would estimate that 75% of those people make almost no money doing it.
Well, that's true. I mean, I come from that. That's where I started.
It's tough. It's not easy at all.
It is.
So if you see the show, appreciate there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, there is.
So it could be that, but it was different. And I've thought for a long time that the model of the paid endorser, like a pro fishing guy or a hunting spokesman on a TV show.
Right.
I've thought for a long time someone's going to come out with something that kills that model. And maybe there's a birth of that we don't know about.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I want that to happen.
Right.
But people always end up trying to find a new way to do whatever. And if these corporate elites can find a way to squeeze out an extra few pennies, especially the publicly traded companies, can find a way to more bottom line it and not have to go that way with somebody. Because some of these guys have really broad, money, and they get paid pretty good money doing this. So I hope the people that I've seen before are still being endorsed and making money.
Sure.
And getting their stuff. But the truth is, some of those shows, a lot of those sponsors you see are just getting product.
Yeah.
And you know that.
I know that because when I started with Mac and Prowler, I mean, I've had them on the show before. Our first podcast in 2015 was, how to start an outdoor TV show. I mean, that was what I cut my teeth on before I got involved with Texas Fish and Game. But it's rough. And the thing I did not even see, too, to your point, Chester, was the amount of, this person will be here at this time, this person will be the celebrity appearance with autographs and all that other stuff. I don't know if nobody cares anymore or if it's run its course or what, like you're saying.
Well, today, there were some, like Jerry McCulloch and a few guys like that, the shooting guy or whatever. But you got to realize that is such a minor niche of a celebrity.
Yeah.
Nothing against a guy or any of those people, but they're in that, unless you're a shooter, you don't really know. They don't have like national TV, Fox Sports or something exposure or CBS exposure, or a movies or something like that, But today I got to meet Oyce Gracie, who's an MMA legend. There was a huge line for him. Someone brought him in to do, Pack and Heat brought him in to do a thing. He was really cool. I stood in line to meet him for a few minutes, got a picture and some autographs and stuff. So there's still some of that. I mean, like tomorrow they're going to have Randy Couture, another MMA guy, former UFC champion, is going to be there. You see some of that, but even less of that.
Yeah.
But when it goes down to like the TV, outdoor hunting TV people, it's not a whole lot.
Well, and that's the thing. That whole medium has changed now.
Yeah, it's weird, man.
I mean, Chester, you have a Roku channel, right?
I know.
Okay, God's Outdoors, or what is it, Kingdom Zoo? I forget what
yeah.
Kingdom Zoo, whatever it's under. So, I mean, there's that. I mean, I have a YouTube channel. Chester's got a YouTube channel. I mean, there's so many different ways that we consume media. It's all segmented now. And it's not what it used to be, where we just had 3, outdoor channels that we would watch.
It's insane, and once again, the pie isn't bigger; it's smaller,
right.
but it's sliced up.
That's where I was going. It's
sliced up in a million pieces.
Right.
So
that's where I was going with that.
I'm hoping everyone who is, especially the people that were really making a living doing this, I'm hoping they're still getting their income and doing it. But it was something I noticed. It was different.
That's a very good.
Because I pay attention to that stuff.
No, I know.
I got a lot of friends back home. That's all they do is watch outdoor TV.
Right.
So I'm always getting them the autographs and stuff like that, and it's usually a friend of mine going, "Can you get me Tiffany's autograph?"
Yeah, I saw her today, by the way.
Really?
Yeah,
what a sweetheart, by the way. Great woman. And Lee's a great guy. I've met him several times.
I saw them both.
My friends usually don't say anything about getting Lee's autographs.
Right, it's all about Tiffany.
Because she's so pretty.
Yeah,
but they're they're both, and I salute them because they were the first couple.
Right.
That were doing that, and they have a great, wonderful program, and they're still out there doing it.
Yeah.
They're one of the few that were here doing that stuff.
All these years later.
So
right.
I got a lot of respect for that. But or my friends would be like Shockey, everybody likes Shockey, and he was around a lot.
I saw him today at the Crossman booth.
He's kind of the guy right now on the big game side,
Mm-hmm.
So that was interesting. But I think the industry, with the advent of the millennials really joining the workforce side of it, is just changing a whole lot. And it's weird because the hunting side and the gun side, the tactical self-defense side, are becoming radically different.
Yes. I noticed that too.
I see people that I like, look, there's no way this guy's going to go kill a hog. Because you'll be talking to them at a thing or something, and you realize real quick they're at a gun thing, but they don't know anything about hunting.
Right.
Because I'll ask them hunting questions like they'll never be hog hunting or deer hunting.
Well, we've seen that in the fishing world too.
Yeah.
With a lot of the millennials that are taking, and nothing against that, but I mean, I figure if you're going to get into this industry, you should at least hunt and fish a little bit.
Well, on the gun side, really kind of my point of that is that the gun side's pulling in some people.
Yes.
That like we talked about with more of the, people being more broad tent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the hunting side hasn't got caught up quite so far yet on that, or it's a harder sell. Right. I think self-defense is a whole lot easier to sell than like, let's go blow a deer away. I mean, it is. I mean, let's be honest with it. It's a lot easier to sell because, look, there's no experience in your life that can make you have an epiphany that you need to go deer hunting.
Yes.
True. You kind of need to be brought up in it,
right?
Introduced to it,
yes,
something like that. However, if you get mugged or house broken into, you may have been all for gun regulations, and you go, "Hey, that Second Amendment thing's for me."
Yeah, that's right.
So I think it's
personal.
I think that's where it's coming. We call them, people call them snowflakes and all these ridiculous things you hear out there. You know what I mean? But no, man, I think a lot of these people are wising up and going, look, I'm going to support, because we still have a Second Amendment.
Right.
You would think with all the idiots that have been in charge of government over the years, in terms of wanting to, the Nancy Pelosi's and everyone, wanting to ban guns at high, incredible limits of power. Right. Been there 40, 50 years. That something would have been chipped away more, right? Mm-hmm. But it's still there, and I think it has a lot to do with what I said about people coming in and going, hey, look, at the end of the day, nope, I don't want some serial killer coming to my house.
Right.
So I'm seeing a lot of that, people that aren't as connected to hunting, but they're connected to guns. So
yeah,
and that's good. I mean, because there's crossover potential.
Sure there is. Yeah.
And there's a campaign out there, and it was there's a campaign, and I forget exactly who was doing it, but they're trying to get like boost hunter numbers again, really try to reintroduce hunter numbers, stuff like that. And I'm just gonna be, because I never try to shoot anything but honesty. I ain't gonna happen.
Okay.
That's not gonna happen. I think the best we'll do is hold fairly steady. The demographics are just shifting too much.
Yeah, they are.
It's a demographic war.
Well, and I've said about my own son, as a plural millennial, whatever you want to call his generation, is there's so many distractions to not getting out in the woods and in the outdoors and stuff like that. There's so many other things to do,
Sure, tons of stuff. The electronic disconnect, and then the fact that you have, for example, way more single-parent homes with moms raising kids. Mom's not as likely to take them hunting. Yeah. You'll also have the fact of just there's less habitat. More city people that never go out and experience and grow up on a farm or whatever. Yeah. So I think it'll be a holding steady thing. I think if you hold steady, honestly, if you hold steady close to what we're at now, that's an incredible accomplishment.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's matter of fact, I had an article about 4 years ago in Texas Fish and Game called "The Demographics Bomb," and that was what it was about: is all these things coming together, and what's going on. So it's cool. Well, we're excited and motivated here at Texas Fish and Game. We love having Dustin's podcast at fishgame.com, and we try to. If you want to tune in to honest outdoors talk, check out his podcast. If you want to have some honest blogging, go to fishgame.com. We try to give it to you the best and straight as we can. And we appreciate everyone who sponsors and supports all this and makes it possible. And we mainly appreciate you, because without an audience, we wouldn't have anything.
That's true. I said that before on one of the earlier shows, maybe it's 2 or 3 shows back. I was like, without listeners, we wouldn't have anybody to talk to, So
to be able to engage people. So thank you all for being part of what we do in this Texas Fish and Game nation.
That's right, absolutely. Thanks so much for joining us, Chester.
Yep. God bless, man.
And there he goes, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chester Moore with Texas Fish and Game Magazine. Love that guy. Great to have him on the show again. And they are gone tomorrow. The whole crew, I think, leaves Thursday for the show. So they'll be going back home to Texas, and I'll be going back home Friday. So I'm going to try to bring you one more podcast tomorrow with my thoughts, and maybe a podcast wrap up on Friday after that, but we'll see what happens. But lots of fun things happening on this show, and I'm really excited to be able to bring this to you. Thank you so much again for watching, reading, and listening, and have an awesome day in the outdoors. We'll see you next time.